Hey, what's going on? We just finished week 7 of my WDI course. Don't think you can really see it in the background, but it is San Francisco, all the way back there, the city line. It's really pretty out here. So for this week, starting on Monday, we went over SQL, a little bit of an intro. We also did PostgreSQL and then querying the database. It was all back-end stuff for Monday. Then Tuesday, we went on to active record. We did with Rails, and then with Rails, we also did models, schemas, and migration. It all seems kind of simple, but it was quite a bit of info and quite overwhelming. Moving into Wednesday, we then did authorization and authentication, which is really important for users' login. Basically, with all apps, you have some sort of login, so this is really important. And it was a lot of information, and I'll be honest, I was pretty overwhelmed during that part. Also, on Wednesday, we had a humor guest for lunch. He came in and spoke during the luncheon. We did some activities with humoring in the workplace. He also helped us relate what we're about to go through with the job search and using humor, when to use it, how to use it. I did a couple of fun exercises, and that was really enjoyable. Moving on to Thursday, we did more of a review day since most people were pretty swamped by Thursday. I think the instructors knew to kind of take it back a little bit and then make sure we totally understood the authorization and authentication. So basically, we made a library app from scratch, which creates libraries and users and connects them using a many-to-many relationship. This is kind of new to us. It seems like it's pretty valuable, so that was a perfect day for us. And then Friday was actually pretty easy. The morning we did interview questions. This is actually the second time we've done this. We'll get up and pick a question out of a hat in regards to material that's already been covered. And we'll have to answer in front of the whole class while standing in front of the class as if we were answering during an interview. So we'd get a question and either have to explain it verbally or explain it verbally and write it on the board. But either way, it's kind of intimidating standing in front of the class and having to answer an interview question. So it's actually really good practice, as well as when you're in the audience, there may be some questions that you come across that you don't really know. You can see how other people answer it, and also you can learn a few things. So that's actually awesome learning experience, and it's really good to have that since we're only a few weeks out from our interviews. The career coach on Friday focused on networking and reaching out via LinkedIn to potential companies as well as potential networkies within the city, and we definitely focused on our job search, kind of honing in on what we want to do, what industry we want to go into, and kind of what we're going to really put our efforts towards when that job search comes, since we won't just be casting a big net without any type of focus. So that was week 7. As mentioned earlier, the first 3 days were pretty overwhelming for me, myself being a beginner, and a lot of this stuff is really new to me. The whole Rails backend database stuff, that's all new to me, so it was kind of difficult. And by about Thursday, I started to pick up a few things here and there. Friday, review day was perfect with the interview questions. And this weekend is actually, we're doing some drills with Rails. We have to build an app twice, not just once, but twice, and take our average time. And I think next week, we're going to be paired off into groups based on our time, and we're going to try and figure out where each person's at, and then make sure that everyone's fully caught up. So this weekend has been pretty difficult. I spent probably 4 or 5 hours total so far. Today's Sunday, and I'm probably going to do a little bit more tonight after the Game 5 of the NBA Finals. But it's still good practice, and the more you work on this stuff, since it is a little bit of a boilerplate, it's starting to really connect, and I'm starting to see the dots and connect the dots, and I'm actually feeling a lot more confident going into next week. Rails and database stuff is something that I didn't really prepare for going into the course. Our fundamentals really focused on JavaScript in the front end, since that was the whole first half of the class. So this is new material to me. I felt kind of overwhelmed at times, which is a good thing, because what I found is whenever I'm overwhelmed, that's when I'm really searching out the answers. And I'm really putting in a lot of work with the TAs at night. They provide us a few evening TAs. So it's nice to have that support there, as well as this overwhelming feeling, and it really forces you to to really look up the docs, the documentations, which is important. It gets harped on us quite a bit from the instructors, as this will be kind of how we're feeling within the job world, since we're all relatively new to this industry and to programming. When we get tasks at work in a few weeks, whenever we land our jobs, we're not going to have all the answers. We're not going to have the ability to answer everything, pinpoint correctly. So we'll have to know how to look up the documentation of certain languages and the syntax and put everything together. And obviously on a job, there's a lot less room for error. So right now, getting the practice of looking up the documentation, understanding what it's saying, and being able to implement it will pay off in the long run. So it's aggravating during the course, however, in the long run, it's going to really pay off. So that's week 7, and only a few more weeks left.